How is Retro Gaming Expo? I guess Atari flew Minter out and gave him a llama. Is that right?
I think the show did.
The show
not
did.
Atari. But yeah, Minter was a guest of the show. And separately from that, they hired a local llama
Yeah.
to walk around because Jeff Minter was at the show. And sometimes those two things cross paths.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense to fly in a llama.
Yeah.
Non llama appreciateur, Jeff Minter. Could you imagine the scandal if they'd rented an alpaca instead? Jeff Minter would have thrown a fit, right?
He probably would have been happy.
No, I think he would have just been really excited.
He loves all those things.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Hello! You have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived. This is episode 358 of the Insert Credit Audio Magazine, the only video game podcast where I am required to stay black, die, and press this horrible buzzer. My name is Ash Parrish, and my beige flag is that I do not like wacky flavors in my snack food. I need like the default flavors. I want plain potato chips, vanilla ice cream, regular Cheez-Its, basic Coke, all that stuff. I'm joined by my lovely guests today. Introduce yourselves.
I'm a guest. I'm Frank Cifaldi, and I don't know what a beige flag is.
It's like a thing that's like not a red flag. Like a red flag is like the things that are like bad about you. A beige flag is just like a normal, boring, potentially not problematic, but like regular thing about you.
Okay, I got one. Can't eat food off their plate.
You mean other people's?
If I'm eating out with a person and they won't let me try their food, that is a beige flag. Like I can work with that, right?
You're talking about one for someone else, not for yourself.
Oh, for myself?
So you want to eat off other people's food?
Well, I just eat off of other people's plates, which is probably a beige flag for some.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
That might be like a rose-colored flag. Like that's verging on red for some folks.
True.
Yeah, it's depending on what color correcting software you're using.
Right?
That's beige. Beige is pretty red. Let me tell you, as a beige complexioned individual, currently color correcting video footage of myself, beige and rose are a little closer than you'd think. I have a diagnosed liver situation, so I'm about the same color as my apartment building. Yeah, except my apartment building is roughly the color of a person about to die of liver failure, where I have a sort of a bilirubin imbalance. So that's why I hover anywhere between Nosferatu-esque and beige complexioned at any given...
Beige complexion in our lexicon, and ours meaning Negro Americans, means that you're like multiracial. Like we call multiracial people beige. Not like normally. It's not necessarily a good thing. But are you trying to tell us something, Tim?
I'm talking about my color correction profile here. I'm talking about this. I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot something, and I'm going to share this with you. Just consider this my whatever it is. We're going to share it right here. This is me. Okay. That's me right there. Okay.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
We've been spending hours trying to figure it out. By we, I mean me.
We have other guests.
This is like a color spectrometer here.
Yeah. It's you don't need to describe it. It's a lumetri scope.
Well, I just want to mention that on the right there's a real heck of a skull looking thing.
Yeah. You see some evil comes up in these things. You see some evil. So when I say I have a beige complexion, I'm speaking purely medically in terms of my diagnosed liver condition. It's very, very odd to look at. It's very similar to my favorite pair of pants. So I can't wear those pants anymore. You know what I mean? But anyway, what's my beige flag? Well, I'm wearing a pair of dry clean only sweatpants right now. So what does that mean?
Sure.
I have dry clean only. I have sweatpants I need to dry clean. Is that a red flag for somebody?
No, shouldn't be. I think that fits the definition of a beige flag. What about the other person whose voices we're hearing?
Oh, I'm Tim Rogers, by the way. I forgot to say that. That's me. Everybody knows that, though.
I'm Brandon Sheffield. Some people know that. Beige flag for me. Maybe it's just that you can't take me anywhere. You try to want to go have a lunch or something, and I got a reason to reject every single place that you suggest because I don't like food, can't eat a lot of things, I don't want to be in a place where everyone's noisy. I just got all these things, and just makes it real difficult to hang out with me in a way that I will you'll know that I might be a happy person. So there you go.
That is an appropriate beige flag, yes.
I think that's honestly way closer to a pink flag, to be perfectly honest. A little closer.
Sure.
A little bit closer. Unless that means something else, but I believe that means a slight red flag, if I'm correct on my modern slang. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, we're doing flag coding, a very different kind of flag coding here.
A lot of flag gradations.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
Have any of you been to the r/vexology subreddit where all the flag people go?
I'd rather eat my own skull. Wait, what? Which? You just said Reddit. I didn't know. I'm just kidding. Reddit's fine.
Yeah, there's a subreddit, r/vexology, I think it's called, is where they all go and they talk about flags. It's really cool.
They talk what about flags? Like what?
Like they discuss like coolest flags, like maritime like signal flags and like all the different kind of country flags and like the obscure city flags.
Is it a place where it's safe to admit that the "Don't Tread on Me" flag is really awesome?
I don't know.
It's like safe. It's safe to admit that without being considered some sort of a psycho. It's a pretty cool flag, and it's a shame that people
have
that the wrong people are celebrating it, because that flag's cool.
I don't think that flag's cool, but I do want a tattoo that incorporates that flag. But hear me out. It is a honey badger that is painted in like the colors of the LGBTQ flag. And then it's holding a dead snake from that flag in its mouth. And then under it, it says Sic Semper Tyrannis, which I think is an awesome idea for a tattoo. And one day I will own it on my body.
You know that LGBTQ flag is actually a point of contention, I'm sure, on that subreddit as well, because rather than making it a free open license, the creator of that flag has sort of inserted it into like making people feel like they have to use that one, but you have to pay for it. It's like a paid it's a paid license.
Is that the new one with the trans colors and
with the little triangle insert?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's messed up. I didn't know that. There's
just like a person profiting off of that one instead of
that's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks because it's like you want the representation there, but why didn't they just use the like open use license so everyone could have it? So
it's interesting.
Kind of not my favorite.
Okay, we have strayed so far from the topic of video games. Let's do an explanation for why I'm here. I have been DEI hired to sub in for Jaffe as he's been out celebrating Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, so I'll be here this week and next week. I'm really excited to be here because a couple months ago, Jaffe asked me to host Insert Credit, and I was like so daunted by the task that I kind of begged off of it because I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, and I just told him like, oh no, I'm busy, I can't do it. And then like on a wild hair, because I have a confession to make. I don't, up until recently, never listened to this podcast despite being a guest on it for several occasions. I'm sorry.
Can relate. We all can relate to that.
We've been guests on this podcast for like a decade or something. We don't listen to the show.
Yeah, I don't listen to the show at all.
I'd rather eat my own skull than listen to the show.
Yeah, but I guess somehow,
that's what it would be like.
Somebody said something to me on Twitter about like I had encouraged them to do something and I didn't remember what I said. So I went back and listened to the episode they were talking about. And I'm like, you know what? This episode is kind of actually cool, despite the fact that I was on it. And then I went on this like tear where I shotgun to the face like 300 episodes in like a week. Like I used it.
Well,
well, it wasn't maybe like not that concentrated, but I definitely listened on the 10-hour round trip from here where I live to my ancestral home in Indiana. And I'm like, I need to host this show.
Good old Indiana.
I love Indiana, and I'm glad you're here, Tim.
Where from in Indiana? Where from?
Northwest Indiana. So
Northwest. West Lafayette, Gary?
Oh, no. That is, I actually went to school at Purdue, which is like way south. That's like around Indianapolis.
Go Boilermakers.
Yeah. I am from the region, which is Lake and Porter counties.
Are you a 765?
No, I am a 219 girly. So we lived in Gary, Indiana, and then we moved to Portage, Indiana, which is right there. I've lived there. My mom still lives there. I live now in Ohio. But I'm glad you're here, Tim, as a fellow Hoosier. But you went to Indiana University, which means you were my mortal enemy as a Boilermaker. So.
I don't pay attention to that stuff so much. I took some classes at Purdue, some summer classes, so technically nobody likes me anywhere. It's fine.
So I'm very excited after listening to the podcast. I'm like, I have to take it back. I have to host the show. The show's freaking incredible. So here I am.
Well,
and I have an entire thing planned. It's going to be just like Jaffe was here, except his voice is more feminine and a lot more blacker. And Tim, I apologize if I curse too much.
Oh no, that's why people always do that. It's a style choice for me. I just consider obscenities cliches. And I've been trying to break myself as far away from cliches as possible. I like to say I avoid cliches like the flu, which is, and
yes.
I try to do that. So that means having to make up my own words, which basically I've just built my own library of cliches. So I don't actually mind. And I don't even, I would never expect someone else to adhere to the same.
Neither mind nor begrudge.
Gotcha.
Avoidance template as myself.
I do curse sometimes. It just comes out sometimes. So
it just comes out.
Good work.
If you have any critique about my hosting abilities or my speaking voice, please send an email to show@insertcredit.com where not I, nor anybody with access to that email will read them. But if you have nice things to say, you can reach out to me on Twitter and give me all the nice head pats there. So let's get started. Jaffe is out because he is celebrating two of the high holy days in Jewish religion. This week it is Rosh Hashanah. Next week it is Yom Kippur. And I had a question. We have a lot of video games that are centered on Christian mythology. You've got what's that one where he goes to hell? Dante's Inferno. You've got that one.
I want to say that we have in our library a copy of Dante's Inferno, like the book, and it. What exactly does it say? It says on the cover, like the inspiration behind the hit
it's like
game.
Now a hit video game or something similar to how it
that
says.
Is fantastic.
Now a hit
that owns so hard.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever play that game? That game owns, dude. It's real
I
bad.
really loved the part where the dead babies came in.
Wait, librarian Phil's pulling it off the shelf. Thank you. And he's handing it to me live.
Oh, this is good. This is
the
good.
literary classic that inspired the epic video game.
Oh my God, that cover is
Fantastic.
so good, dude.
Yeah.
Because that's basically the game. Man, that game is insane.
I really loved where all the unbaptized babies become enemies that you have to fight, which is ridiculous, but lore accurate. Anyway, we've got these games about Christian mythology, Greek mythology, Japanese mythology, and I wanted to know, in celebration of Rosh Hashanah, do we have any video games that take from Jewish mythology? I couldn't think of anything, but I know that there is a bit in the new Wolfenstein series where a lot of the technology that BJ Blazkowicz uses is developed by these like Jewish scientists that's like heavily involved in like Jewish mysticism and things like that. And I wanted to know, speaking to our historians and all the guys that play all of the old video games and have way more deeper knowledge than I do, is there any video games that touch on Jewish mythology at all?
Isn't the Old Testament Jewish mythology?
I've only got basically, yeah. I mean,
like Noah's Ark, right? Like,
yeah,
the Christians glued another quote unquote half to it.
The fan expansion.
Yeah,
added, right.
Not like the games that are like express like biblical, those kinds of like weird Noah's Ark games. I mean, like something cool, like Dante's Inferno, like something that's like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Like something, your cousin would play and not something that, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints developed to get at the youth,
Got it. I want to say before we move on that like it is not necessarily the opinion of the Insert Credit Audio magazine that Noah's Ark is not cool. That was specifically an Ash Parrish opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think it's cool.
Noah's Ark? You mean the
like
boat
Noah's Ark the
itself?
story or Noah's Ark the game?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a boat big enough to have two of every animal in the world? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They got them on the Carnival cruise lines now.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go with like non-Christian ones because then I could put in like Exile and all the games that deal with like Islamic mythologies. And
we could talk about that
but-
too, because it's really rare also to find Islamic mythology. Like we get we get Christian mythology, we get Japanese mythology, and we get Greek and Norse mythology, and those are like the big three. But if we have like video games centered on other mythologies, that would be really cool, like to know about those. Like Hindu mythology, I think there's a couple games running around, but I can't think of them off the top.
Yeah,
there's a couple.
Raji, an Ancient Epic, is one of those games, which is actually a really, really, really good game that you should play.
Yeah, there's a really terrible PS2 game made in India whose name I cannot remember right now, where you're a monkey fella, and that's the name of the game, but I can't remember what it is.
Monkey
But
fella?
it's yeah, you're like a monkey god kind of a guy, and you're going around doing things, and I forget what it's called.
I want you to know that Monkey Magic, but with the lyrics Monkey Fella, is in my head right now.
Oh, very good.
Does Black Myth Wukong count?
No, that's Chinese mythology.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
the
but does
old,
it count in terms of cool video games not
No.
centered on Western religious?
Sure, I would say
I
so.
don't think so. I don't really think. I don't think Journey to the West is really considered.
It's not
too much of
religion.
it. I don't think there's anybody who.
It's still mythology.
I mean, I don't want to.
Is an ancient story mythology? I think so.
I don't want to speak too much to my actual area of expertise here, but which is Chinese literature, specifically the four classics: A Dream of the Red Chamber, Three Kingdoms, Water Margin, and Journey to the West. That's as quickly as I can recite them. But I think Chinese civilization was significantly advanced in the 13th and 14th centuries to a point just kind of blowing Europe completely away. And I would say that though the story, yes, was penned in what a time we in the West might consider antiquity, that's literature to me, by my definitions, which I could go into more detail about, but I'll spare you.
I guess where does the line between mythology and
religion
and literature and religion and all of these things?
Good question.
Where does that lie? Because is Arabian Nights? Is that mythology?
That's folklore.
Or is it? Yeah.
Okay, okay, no. I didn't want to split hairs between like mythology and folklore and like traditional religious practices.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess here we are.
I'm gonna that's the show. I'm gonna pose that maybe you could say Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom has golem mythology going on.
Oh yeah,
so
they got those.
Like I think golems are an easy answer because there's a lot of games with golems in them, and that's very clear Jewish mythology.
Yeah,
one of the easiest to grab hold of. So,
but I wanted something. I was curious if there was something that was like more than just incorporating golems and more like Jericho and the walls and the horn blowing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
the old horn blowing.
There could be.
Well, I mean, my quick answer here, my go-to would be that one of the most popular video games of all time has one of the most popular video game characters of all time, who is named after the very interesting concept from the Coppola, which is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
So, everybody can look into that if they'd like. I think that's the most famous example of Jewish mysticism in video games. And then also another Hironobu Sakaguchi joint, Lost Odyssey, features a main character named Kaim, which is it seems like it has to be derived from the Hebrew word for life, which I could pronounce. If you'd like to hear me try.
Mr. Walker, please, for the love of God, you have now put Fantasian on consoles.
Oh yeah.
Please,
yeah.
Please, Jesus.
I've done been saying this.
Let us save Lost Odyssey from the Xbox and put it everywhere else.
It runs well enough on the Xbox Series X. You can buy it $10 or whatever. But I mean, come on, get it on my PC, get it on my Nintendo Switch. I want Lost Odyssey, Last Story, Blue Dragon in a combo pack. That's what I want. I want a combo pack. Yeah, it's about as easy as money gets. For me, I'd pay $100. I don't know about anybody else. Remember when they did those Etrian Odyssey remasters and it was like $90 for the three of them? And there were fools in the Steam reviews being like, this is too expensive. Not me. I bought that. I'm like, $90. You charge me that. Go ahead. It's a beautiful gesture of you to remaster those games and de-DSify them for my Steam deck and TV.
So I'm already taking notes.
Anyway, those are my two examples. I think that's as close as it gets.
Seinfeld Seen It, the DVD game. How do we feel about that?
I don't know if...
Barring one scene with a quirky rabbi performing a circumcision where he cuts Jerry's finger, I don't really consider Seinfeld...
Jewish mythology.
It's not mythology.
I don't really consider Seinfeld Jewish mythology heavy.
All right.
It's not... I don't think so.
Okay, we're moving on. I was asked specifically, I don't know if it was someone on the panel or whatever, Jaffe let me know that it has been requested of me that we talk about Dragon Age the Veilguard. Brandon, I know that you are you a big Dragon Age fan? Did I get that wrong or no?
I'm a medium-sized Dragon Age fan in that I
think I know the story. You played Dragon Age Inquisition while sick.
Yeah.
Were you ill when you played it?
I was, but I liked it.
Oh, well, that doesn't... I mean, you don't have to dislike everything that you experience while
sick, yeah. But I like the Dragon Age games to the extent that I've played them, but I did stop playing them after the 360 era.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you didn't play Inquisition. Has anyone here played Inquisition? Tim, you probably have.
Oh, I played about 4 hours of it.
Oh, no. Am I the only one here? Is this question just for me?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. Because here's what's going to happen with Dragon Age the Veilguard is me buy it, play about 4 hours, and then stop is probably what's going to happen. But I will buy it and I will play it. I will give EA my money because I love the idea.
I don't know what the question is going to be, but
what's the question?
Let's hear the question. But I heard some interesting discussion about this.
So the question was, I figured, Brandon, that you were a bigger fan than what you were. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't do my Oppo research deep enough. But I was going to ask, I'm a big Dragon Age girly. Dragon Age Inquisition literally saved my life. I will eventually write about that sometime this month. Since Dragon Age the Veilguard comes out at the end of the month. But I was just going to ask, do you like the direction that the series is taking? Are you upset or not upset about choices from the previous games not really having that big of an impact on this recent one? And getting at what I imagine that why this was requested of me, how do you feel about the character creator and everything that has gone on about that, if you guys are plugged into the discourse regarding that?
Oh, yeah. So I'm not, but I think that was related to the question or the conversation that I was hearing where...
Can you correctly guess what the...
I'm pretty sure you can.
What's going on with the character creator?
The discussion that I was hearing was over someone who is super into Baldur's Gate 3 for the relationships and the character creationifying. Wondering whether they should get into Dragon Age next, and the conclusion by persons around them being, if you start with Baldur's Gate 3 as your expectation, then Dragon Age is maybe going to disappoint you with its amount of choice and fluidity and that sort of thing.
Dragon Age the Veilguard looks like it looks like the store brand Lego version of Baldur's Gate 3. No, maybe with like really nice Legos, like the rich kid Legos.
Yeah.
No, not store brand Legos. The rich kid Legos. That's what it looks like. The rich kid alternative.
Rich kid Legos are Legos.
No,
Playmobil.
Yes, they are.
Playmobil is rich kid Legos.
Is it?
I don't know.
In the olden times, yeah.
I thought Playmobil was cheap.
Yeah, so did I.
In the olden times, there were toy stores in the mall where
Walden Kids,
where a $3 GI Joe was $14 inexplicably, and they had regular Legos for 1.8 times the markup. And they had like Legos that were like alternative, like for cultivating the minds of your little geniuses, your little future Yale students or whatever. Like there were these different Legos that were different, and I don't know what the brand was because I only ever saw them from behind the window, and I was only able to look at them for a few seconds before the goddarn guy from behind the counter ran out and started beating me with a club, saying, "Get away," because I was Oliver Twist at this point in my life.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You can't play with these. Go back to your Star Wars Legos or whatever," which I didn't even have, which seemed like an unnecessary insult. But anyway, that's what Dragon Age looks like to me. It looks like rich kid Legos.
So, Ash, what do you think about this stuff? Because I think you're the one now who knows.
Well, okay. So I had never played a Baldur's Gate game before last year.
A lot of people hadn't, actually.
Yeah,
so.
But I'm familiar with the lore and how this was originally a BioWare property that got spinned off or whatever, and they did the first two games, and then the third one was taken over by Larian and whatever. And I played it for the first time, and I'm like, oh, this is great, this is fantastic. It's been a 10-year gap between the last Dragon Age game and now, and this is like perfectly fulfilling, that Dragon Age sized hole in my chest. And Dragon Age is like a very special video game franchise for me. Like I had played it once, like the Origins on PC. It's the game that taught me what modding was, because I didn't know what that was, and I wanted to mod more romance scenes in because I romanced Alistair, and I'm like, I need more of this. Like, it completely lit my brain on fire, and I learned the process of modding through that game because I wanted more like romance scenes with him. And so it has been something that I'm like super excited for. Dragon Age Inquisition pulled me out of like a terrible slump when it first came out back in 2015. We're not going to go into that now. Maybe we'll do some other time. But in comparison to Baldur's Gate 3, this is very much like a two cakes situation. Like, I don't care that, people will think of this as a low rent Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever. I'm like, I, as a RPG fan who loves that kind of like personal investment and romance and character relationships and all that stuff, it's like, I get two cakes. I'm fucking stoked for this. Especially now that I have seen what I have seen, especially in regards to the character creator, because the character creator in the first two, and actually all three games, is kind of abysmal. Like, I remember distinctly going back to Origins and trying to make a darker skinned character, and the darkest that it would go would be like, it would pass the paper bag test. Everybody go Google what that is. I'm not going to explain it here. Yeah, exactly. And now,
can I make a character the color of my apartment building?
That's about as deep as it gets. And that was the case all the way through. It got better with Inquisition, but then you run into a problem with like your hairstyles and things like that. Like, they don't really have like hairstyles that are for people who don't have like straight hair or whatever. So this
that's
new
okay
game,
because it's not historically accurate.
I guess not, right? Right. Like, they don't have 4C hair in Thetis, I'm sorry, which is completely insane. Which probably actually makes sense considering that the black character in Dragon Age Inquisition is bald, which is like, yeah, we probably can't give her like, we're not going to be able to, we don't have the technology to give her like hair that would be appropriate for like her, her race as a black woman. So we just have to make her bald, which worked for her because she was a stone cold badass bitch, Vivienne. But like, thinking about it now, that's the first time I thought about it, like, oh yeah, that's probably why she's bald.
She got into the Space Marine syndrome of the Xbox 360, where everyone was complaining about making hair at that time, and we just wound up with all those Space Marines.
I'm just looking at pics of this game on Steam, and like the first image on Steam is a black guy with really good hair. So
for Veilguard, or
Veilguard.
Yeah. They've done a lot of improvements with the Frostbite engine. As I understand, like, they worked a lot. The people at BioWare worked a lot because it's an EA game. They worked with the people at FIFA because they make the FIFA games, and they have to model, black players in on all those soccer clubs correctly. So they had to like develop the hair technology that would suit it. And they were like, cross communication, collaboration or whatever to bring that technology to BioWare, which was sorely freaking needed because Mass Effect suffers from the same problem too. So I'm really excited about everything that's going on. I've tried to not to limit my exposure to all like the first looks and, learning about the story and whatever, because I want to go in as fresh as I can. And I'm just excited. Like, I don't really care about the fact that, decisions that I've made in the previous 3 games don't really counter over. That's not really what I'm here for.
Wait, are people upset about that? Are people upset about the fact that your decisions aren't going to carry over from the game that came out 10 years ago?
I think they're mad about that, and they're mad about the fact that the decisions that you make don't hold the kind of weight that they would expect them to. It's a Mass Effect syndrome all over again, which is like, I get it, but like at this point, like, who cares? Like, I'm here not because this is my story. I'm here because I want the story that BioWare has crafted for me. And for the most part, they have never really let me down. Like, the DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition and the DLC for Mass Effect 3 have been contain some of like the top moments for both of those franchises. So I'm good with it. Like, okay, Andromeda, whatever, Anthem, but Dragon Age is BioWare when it's hitting on all of its cylinders, and from what I've seen so far, it seems like this is.
I have actual stuff to say about this game aside from it looking like Rich Kid Lego's version of Baldur's Gate 3.
Go ahead.
Which is that is not an insult, by the way. It is whatever that means. I thought the Rich Kid Legos looked cool when I was a kid. Okay. I really like the art direction in this game. That's basically I also really like the art direction in that Obsidian game Avowed. I really like the art direction in that too. I like the colors. I like the shaders, and I like all of the effects that are going on. I just think it's a very exciting game to look at, even in like stills. And when I got to see when I saw the trailer when was that? Was it just a couple weeks ago? Or there was a trailer and I was like, oh, this is cool. It just looks, it looks cool, and I'm glad they're making games that are just that kind of a chill vibe.
It's a lot of purple these days. What's going on with all the purple?
They're all trying to catch up to Saints Row 3.
It's weird. I feel like purple has been the color of the last 2-3 years for AAA. There's just like a lot of purple on the cover. There's nothing wrong with that, of course.
Elaborate on that, because I don't think I see what you see.
Veilguard's got a bunch of purple.
Veilguard, but he said AAA games, and I want to know if there's...
Oh, I don't know about that either. What's
like Forspoken has a lot of purple. I'll compile some covers of games for you, and I'll send it through. Because I noticed this looking at my like PlayStation 5 discs. I was like, what's with all the purple?
They just don't really think anybody has discs, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Well, a bad comment I noticed was when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, I saw, and it won the Game of the Year. Not when it came out, but when it won the Game of the Year award, I saw several people repeating the opinion that it just looks like a stupid generic fantasy game, and there are quote unquote too many of those. And I just felt so sad because there's not enough. There's not too many generic fantasy AAA video games like at all. I think it's fine. And I like that I wouldn't even call it generic, right? But there were people just being like, I don't like the fantasy aesthetic. It's like, well, why not? I don't know. Why not? I think this Dragon Age looks fine. This is how they've tricked me into playing 4 hours of all of them whenever they come out.
You need to play more.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that you have to play Inquisition like up to a certain point where they've unrolled all of the systems, and I only got to like 80% systems unrolls before stuff got in the way, and I couldn't, I was busy with work and whatnot, and fell off of it and didn't want to restart. And you want to know what the big problem was? As I hated my character. I just didn't like the way my character looked.
But you make your character.
I thought she looked fine in the character creator.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Once I started seeing cutscenes, I was like, oh, her like, she had like an underbite.
That's why you gotta like spin the model around and make sure.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but when the animations start, I do remember having that problem in the early Dragon Age games, and I actually re-rolled my character. But then I just made them uglier.
I know that, like, Final Fantasy XIV, for example, allows you to to change the scene so that you can see your character in a bunch of different lighting conditions and backgrounds. And I'm pretty sure that most AAA video games with character creators have that now.
Yes.
Except Cyberpunk 2077, because you never even see your character, which is funny.
I reviewed that character creator. I thought it was actually really good.
You know what I think they should do for character creators, and I've mentioned this before, and I've mentioned this on this podcast, is just give me a character, a default. Just give me a default who looks really good. Give me a default that looks great.
They do that, though.
They do that in Dragon Age Veilguard?
I don't know if they do it in Veilguard. They definitely do it in Mass Effect. I'm pretty sure they do it in Dragon Age Inquisition, and they definitely do it in Cyberpunk.
I don't like, well, no, okay, so Cyberpunk is the gold standard in my opinion, because I think like female V looks like an interesting character design, whereas I think male Shepard does not look like an interesting character design.
That's why male Shepard is not the canon Shepard, and that's why everybody plays Femme Shep.
Who is a much better character design than male Shepard. I just think if you're going to make a game with the character creator, and I've said this before on this show, just to have a default character, have them be on the box, have them be on the game box, and then let that guy be the first guy or the first girl you see when you open the character creator. Because that's who I would pick. I'm not a 3D artist. I want a 3D artist to make a character for me.
So how do you play Skyrim, Tim?
Skyrim, oh my God.
That was a long 6 minutes.
Okay, yes.
Who cares? 6 minutes is whatever.
We're gonna call it a time, because I could go on forever about Dragon Age. I have other questions that I would like to get to, and Frank hasn't spoken at all. So hopefully,
Frank's dead.
No, Frank is not dead.
I wanted to address something Tim said about how people think there's too many fantasy games.
Generic.
So when they see a fantasy game get announced, they get upset. I think humans in general, especially the kind who don't like make or do things, they tend to think that the existence of a thing means that something that they like didn't happen. So like if Nintendo makes a game that took like 2 months to make, just a weird little Switch prototype where you wring out a sponge or something, they're like, well, they could have made Metroid 5 instead. How dare they make this sponge wringing prototype game?
That's absolutely right.
I think the takeaway is that people should make and do stuff and shut up.
Not to extend the 6 minutes even further, but I was just in Japan for a couple of weeks and hanging out with the art director of Space Channel 5, who has a bunch of posters of art that was drawn by friends or fans for the Space Channel 5 VR, which was like 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary. I don't remember what anniversary. I think 25th.
Yeah, not the 30th. Let me just tell
Not
you
the 30th.
that.
Yeah,
I think that wouldn't be right.
It's either the 20th or the 25th, something like that. 20th. Yeah. Anywho, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The point is, one of those was by the manga artist, creator of Nana, which is very cool and popular manga.
I'm familiar with Nana.
And so she did a like a Ulala in her style, with that other not Ulala character that I don't remember the name of, and posted it on Instagram or some other social media, and all the comments were just like, "Why aren't you making Nana? Why did you do this? And you could be finishing Nana right now. Why did you do this?"
Those people need to get in the ground.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, just dig a hole and hop in.
It's a very nice way to say
Yeah.
KYS. I appreciate it, Tim. I'm taking
Man.
And whenever
whenever God darn, those people need to feed a coffin.
That's fantastic.
Like whenever there's a remaster of a video game, Sony is remastering Horizon Zero Dawn instead of remaking Bloodborne, and it's like, well, yeah, probably because it's like a skeleton crew is required to do the former, whereas the latter, you want a committee to decide how to make as much money as possible off of it, et cetera, et cetera.
There's also rights holder difficulties among From and Sony, and getting some things agreed there.
So what we've decided here is that they should remake Bloodborne. That's the decision here at the end of this particular topic. Oh, also, let me just go ahead and extend us one more time. I recently-ish convinced a friend to not only play Baldur's Gate 3, but blast all the way through it and 100% and have an extremely good time.
Wait, 100% it?
Well, I don't know about 100%, but he went wild on it, right? And let me tell you how I did this. He came to me and said, this Baldur's Gate 3 game seems pretty good. Lots of people are talking about it. I kind of want to play it, but I've never played the other two. So you know what I told him? I said, dude, Baldur's Gate is a place. It's the name of the city where interesting, fascinating things happen in the world of the Baldur's Gate games. And then he goes, oh, okay. And that was it. That's all it took. So if you're on the fence about playing Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate is the name of a city.
Moving on.
So if that helps you decide to not play the remasters of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and instead skip to Baldur's Gate 3, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. What is the Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis of video games?
Oh, man. Well, we were talking about this before the show. I was talking about how I saw a tweet. I believe it was I'm told it was Mike Drucker. Is that so? Where he said that Megalopolis is like if Hideo Kojima directed the cutscenes for SimCity. And I mean, that's basically it. It's not quite an answer.
Has anybody here seen Megalopolis yet?
I've seen Megalopolis. I've seen Metropolis 1927. I've seen Metropolis 2001. I've seen Cosmopolis.
These are all words that are not in the Bible, meaning I have no idea what you're talking about.
I've seen Kazuaki Kiriya's Kashurn, which is another film.
Oh, now that I do know what you're talking about.
I've seen 3 out of the 4 of those.
I've seen Sky Captain and The World of Tomorrow. I'm just going to list movies that have special effects that either were done by one person working alone or look like they were.
What about, wasn't there a Disney movie based on Tomorrowland?
Yeah.
That looked like one of those.
That movie sucks, though.
I have an answer to this question.
Please.
Well, it's either whatever Will Wright is working on right now, or it's Spore.
But Spore didn't really...
Spore was like overdone, right? It was just too much.
Yeah, okay. So you mean conceptually, not content-wise?
It is from someone who was extremely successful in the past in their craft.
Won all the top awards.
Award-winning, extremely successful, talks at all the shows and stuff, and doesn't seem to actually have a grasp for what people want.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least anymore. And I think Spore sold pretty well, et cetera, but I think, you talk to anyone who played it and they say it's a mess. It was just like 8 different games kind of hot glued together without any coherency.
I played the heck out of Spore. Yeah, that's basically it.
Frank has correctly interpreted the ethos of the question. Thank you.
And so, if it's not whatever his next thing is, like if he doesn't ship a next thing, I think it will ultimately have been Spore. But
Stupid
I think
Fun Club.
I think that the more you get him to make stuff, the more Megalopolis he gets, which is beautiful irony considering Megalopolis is a level one can achieve in SimCity.
That is true. Yeah, it is the ultimate level. If you get there, you win.
Mm-hmm.
You win the whole game if you get to Megalopolis.
Yeah, that's right. So Will Wright is attempting to win the game by making this game with which may or may not have blockchain technology in it and is based on people's dreams or something.
Would we trust Will Wright with the blockchain? Frank, do you trust him? Do you trust him touching the blockchain? You trust him?
I trust. Sure, I don't care who touches the blockchain. I just don't touch the blockchain.
Do you trust Will Wright doing it though?
I don't trust Will Wright to do anything. No.
Okay. What about Will Wrong? His alter ego.
Yeah,
Man,
I think Will Wright is great at like systems. You know what I mean? Like,
so wait, my real question here is what's Francis Ford Coppola's Spore?
Apparently Megalopolis.
Yeah.
No, no. Okay, no. What's Francis Ford Coppola's The Sims?
That I can't answer.
What's Francis Ford Coppola's Sim City? What's Francis Ford Coppola's Raid on Bungling Bay? The Conversation? Probably.
Some student film.
Might be The Conversation. Yeah, I guess there's an extra element here where he sold half his vineyard to make this because he spent a bunch of his own personal money because he's been talking about how this is like the story that needs to be told and his big personal vision. And okay, I haven't seen it, but from what I have heard, it seems as though the message is coming from a person who has not been in touch with the kind of message that people need to hear for some time. Like what I have heard is that it's an kind of an old message, strangely put from an out of touch person.
Yeah, I mean he's an old man. His goddarn wife just died.
Oh,
he's reached what is most likely the end of his life, and this is the movie he desperately wanted to make before he died.
So I feel like that's a little bit of an element here where it's like I got to make this thing, and then it's not really for anyone but himself.
I mean, which is fine. It's like fan fiction.
There's slightly more intouchlessness to this movie than you might think.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. There's like very overt portrayals of a Nazi fascist political party rising in America to stop this guy who wants to rebuild the Final Fantasy New York in the vision of a Flash Gordon serial. There's stuff in there. I'd say it's worth watching, but I wouldn't really give the same recommendation to the game Spore, to be perfectly honest.
So it's hard for me to think of someone who has put so much personal stake into the release of a video game like that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
No, maybe not. I can actually think of one guy, but I don't think that it was for like the amazing reasons. It's the fella who made Jerry Rice
and Nidus Dog Football and decided that like the Consumer Electronics Show is where you exhibit video games. Yeah.
He bet it all.
Jerry Rice, the football game?
Yes.
Yeah, on the Wii.
Jerry Rice and Nidus Dog Football for the Wii. You can still buy brand new copies or cases of this game from that guy on eBay right now.
I don't necessarily think that's the guy.
No, it isn't.
I think
it isn't. It's just the only guy.
That was like I see a business opportunity to make a product. Wasn't like his large creative lifelong aspiration wasn't to make Jerry Rice and Nidus Dog Football. That wasn't his artistic.
I do know that the head of the behemoth mortgaged his house to
run a business, not because like God, I believe in this art.
It's true. It wasn't about.
It wasn't like people need to see Alien Hominid.
Right. I think that's the missing factor. So maybe it doesn't exist.
I would not call Alien Hominid the godfather of video games. To be perfectly honest,
no, I wasn't trying to.
What a hot take, Tim! Wow,
I would not do it.
I would not over here.
Not for $100. I think it's actually closer to Death Stranding. If Death Stranding had been a financial failure,
and I'm glad we brought up Hideo Kojima because before we move on, I wanted to say like I feel like Hideo Kojima is the closest video games has gotten to a Francis Ford Coppola. Like, I'm curious to see how Hideo Kojima is working out in like the next 20 years, because it seems like he's going down that path. And I will say, Francis Ford Coppola occupies the same space in my brain as Tim Burton, in that they are both much beloved directors that have made great things, but have absolutely no freaking idea what to do with people of color at all. Like, period. Just, they are alien to them, because holy shit, how the hell do you have Lawrence Fishburne in your movie and he's like the magical Negro help? Like, please be serious.
He's the narrator as well. He's the narrator, and he's also a historian with an extremely magical, omniscient tone to everything he says. He narrates in voiceover and on camera, which is that's next level, man.
Please learn that there are people of color and how to use them.
He's like narrating to a person's face, like looking them in the eye and narrating the movie, like while to another actor. It's really wild. It kind of it's crazy stuff.
We have one more question and then we'll go to break. And this one is a fun one. You have been handed infinity money to make a video game about internet sensation Moo Deng. We all know who Moo Deng is, right? Do I need to explain
the hippo?
We do.
Yes, the hippo. Your shareholders want the game to have the same kind of gravitas as The Last of Us and God of War Ragnarok. What do you do? And biting people has to be a major game mechanic.
Oh, well, you're just a grubby person. Like a person who has just crawled through the apocalypse, and this baby hippo, there was like a nuclear war, and there was this baby hippo has something in their blood that will save the human race. It's
The Last of Us with a hippo.
And you have this.
I think we should move on. We're done. I think
it's Unreal Engine 5. It is blasted in ray tracing because this little guy's got to look wet the whole time. That I want that hippo to be drenchy the whole time.
Well, you also have to find water to keep this hippo wet.
Yeah, you have to be dumping fire buckets of water onto this hippo.
And there's like elaborate puzzles where you have to, move the ladder, and there's like Rube Goldberg machines with like a bucket of water on top of like the ruins of some building.
There's really intricate rope technology.
Yeah, God darn, soak the hippo, save the world, or whatever the slogan. They're gonna go all heroes on the market. I was gonna say,
that reminds me of Heroes.
Soak the hippo, save the world. That's the mechanic.
That's the name of the episode.
When the copyright elapses, there'll be people making Hungry Hungry Hippos horror version mashup.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
Kind of like Blood and Honey from Winnie the Pooh.
God,
exactly.
There's a movie that exists for nobody to watch, right? Like, would someone actually watch that Winnie the Pooh horror movie? Is that
apparently they did, because they're doing another one with Steamboat Willie, right?
Are they? Oh, yeah.
They probably are. Before we move on from Hungry Hungry Hippos, I want to share something, which is a few weeks ago, a phrase popped into my head, and I Googled to see if anyone had ever published this phrase on the internet, and no one has, and I was a little bit surprised.
Did you buy the domain?
No, I didn't, but someone can. Insert credit exclusive. The phrase that popped in my head was "hungry, hungry hornies."
What?
I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
Not quite sure what that means.
I don't know if I like that one either.
All right.
I think I don't like it.
All right, but if anyone out there wants it, it's out there.
It's available.
You can own that one.
Not quite sure what that means. But we can look into that later. I'll put top men on it.
Thank you.
We'll see what to do.
They might be in your area right now.
For the Soki Hippo trailer or whatever the game is called, it looks like you play as the hippo, but then when you buy the game, you realize that's just the first level. And then you play
just you escaping from the zombies or whatever.
You play as a human who's
is the sequel where you kill Moo Deng.
Yeah, because he's become too powerful.
Moo Dangerous. Moo Deng's the lady, by the way.
I don't know what a hippo is, man.
It's a pygmy hippo.
Hippos have genders?
They do.
Nobody should have genders.
Hippos are hippos.
And on that note, we will be right back after this short break. Is everybody back? Nope, everybody's gone.
Just me.
How you doing, Frank?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Long time no speaky.
Yeah, speaky good. More speaky.
More speaky. Things have been crazy.
Everyone's dead or busy. Those are the two states of being.
Yeah. States of life, dead or busy. I'm glad that you are not dead.
Thank you. I'm pretty busy.
Welcome back to Insert Credit, episode 358, I think. We're going to get back into the questions that I have come up with. How can Nintendo make a well-rounded, all-ages video game starring a female protagonist that excludes Samus? Here's the reason why I'm asking this question. So, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is out. I have played and reviewed that game for TheVerge.com. It's fun. I've also played Princess Peach Showtime and also reviewed it for The Verge. It's also fine. But I'm running into this situation where we've got these two games starring these two female protagonists that have like storied histories within Nintendo. Like they love these characters. People have been clamoring for games where you could play as them. And then Nintendo comes out and they make these baby mode ass games that are for children, which is fine. But Nintendo has already proven that they know how to make video games that strike that balance between can be for kids, but adults will enjoy this too. We have Astrobot also that is an example of that. And you've got these two female characters that are starring in these games that are absolute like okay, but like they're so infantilized. And I'm like, why are we doing this to these women? Like these boss bitch ass women, when we've seen what they can do in other places where they're not like the main stars, like Princess Peach and Princess Zelda both have hella hands, as you've seen in like Smash Bros. And other places. Why is it in their own games they have been turned into these like completely kind of infantilized kinds of women with these like simple games with these simple mechanics that don't really challenge you beyond anything? And I'm wondering, what's the deal here and how do we improve it? Samus is excluded because obviously Metroid.
Yeah, she's the secret girl revealed at the end of a hardcore action game, right? Is the originator of that trip. So you ask what's going on. As best I can tell, the answer is exactly what you suspect. Yeah. Right. No. So that's number one. That's number one. Does anybody remember the game Super Princess Peach for the Nintendo DS?
Where she was powered by her emotions.
Yeah, her emotions. She can. And it's like, not only was it you press a button on the bottom screen to make her start to cry, and when she cries, the tears fall into a flower pot, which causes a vine to grow. It's like there would be a tutorial box you can hit right in front of the flower pot. And it would say, there's a flower pot. If there were some water, perhaps something would grow. Maybe you could try using your sadness emotion to cry onto it. Right. And it's like, what do you got to explain all of that for? You got to ask the question and answer it. And then you climb the vine. And what's up there? Just at the very top, it's one of the items that you need it's just one of the toads you need to rescue. And then it's like, it's just next to every puzzle is just a lock. And the key is a button you press on the bottom screen. The answer is it's a game for children, right?
Yeah.
It's a game for children. Now, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is...
It's
a game for children, and they're not particularly respected by the people making it.
Yeah. The original Metroid was a game for children, by which I'm talking about myself, who done played it with no guides at age 8, and I beat it, okay? It was possible for an 8-year-old to play that game. I have not since then, and I was born not wanting to hear the excuse that it's a game for children, right? It's like children figure stuff out, and I just think children have fun figuring stuff out. So it's just weird that when Nintendo saw that they had legions of children fans, they decided to make games for children that were just babyishly easy. And there's virtue in that, there's something in that. Maybe not every child possesses the puzzle solver's mind that I did at age 8 and 9, but I feel like you don't got to go all the way to like sub Kirby. When you're making a game that stars one of your girl characters.
Yeah, it's hard to inspire wonder when you're holding out their hand the whole time.
I mean, and we've seen specifically with Wonder that they know how to make a game that, is accessible for children, but also will be challenging for adults.
Kids love Mario Kart.
Yeah, why doesn't Princess Peach or Princess Zelda get that same consideration?
It's weird, isn't
it? And that's also certainly the reason that you're thinking of. Like,
there's a bunch of old men, a bunch of goddarn geriatric men in charge. Like, I mean, that's. I
mean, y'all saw that this is the first Zelda game in which Miyamoto appears to not have been credited in any capacity. So,
well, I can't wait for the second one. No offense, Shiggy, you can retire, buddy.
Yeah,
he has to go spend all this time with his wife.
You did good. You just go hang out with your wife and your banjo.
He's retired.
He is.
He's retired for
yeah,
years.
he's in the window.
He's Jay retired. He's Jay retired. Yeah.
I think that it speaks to the B teamishness of who they are assigning to these particular variants.
Well, yeah, they're only giving this team like half of the frames too.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, because the frame rate in Echoes of Wisdom is terrible.
Every other frame to work with.
Yeah, that's why I'm never gonna play it, because I, as listeners of the show know, I really tried to play that remake of Link's Awakening, and this just looks like more of that broken.
Frank, I got a hot tip. They're making a Switch too, I think.
What?
Oh,
I think they're going to announce it soon, and I think when it comes out, you're going to be able to play both of those games at a rock solid 60.
I bet that's not true because the emulators don't fix it. The answer to Ash's
Wait,
question
one of them
is,
did. Oh, but anyway, yeah. Let's.
Not really.
Yeah,
did not.
and
fix
then what
it.
happened
Oh,
to
wait,
that
you mean
emulator,
Link's
Frank?
Awakening or Echoes of Wisdom? Echoes of Wisdom is
Awakening.
Echoes of Wisdom 60. I got it running.
Well, yeah, but the frame rate is different than drop frames on
I know.
asset flushes, which is my problem. I didn't mind it being 30. I minded the random-ish like frame drops when going in and out of the environment.
Echoes of Wisdom is a goddarn sine wave on the Digital Foundry graph. It's just like going from 60 to 30. Like it's wild. It looks like a lie detector.
So the hero of Hyrule or whatever is a very generic character, right? Has no personality. Why isn't that just a character creator? That's the answer to Ash's question.
Yeah.
If Nintendo were ever to do a good job of this again after Metroid games, I think it would have to be an original character where they were thinking about, let's try to do a good job. Let's make a character that women will care about, that young girls will care about. They might not do a good job.
No, because we have Zelda and we have Peach. Women love those two characters.
But I'm just saying, like, I think in order for them to get out of the mindset that they're in, they would have to make a new character. That's
I think like they hit upon an interesting solution in Super Mario Brothers 2, or Super Mario USA, known as Doki Doki Panic in Japan, when they cast Princess Peach in only her second ever video game appearance in the West. They cast her as a player character with a different skill set. With a different set of challenges and a different set of advantages. And it's like, oh, they basically, that's the idea, you know?
Yeah.
Princess Peach, by the way, I've heard some younger people have the wrong opinion about this. She is not the easy mode in that game. She's actually kind of harder to use in most situations than all the other characters. Everyone's specialized in that game, right? So
remember when they did that again, but instead of having Peach, they just had two different Toads. That was cool.
Yeah, the
Whatever
two different
that game
Toads.
was.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a phenomenal freaking game.
No. There was the 4-player Mario.
Oh, right. I know.
New Super Mario Bros. U.
I think it was that one, yeah.
Griping.
Yeah.
Because we've got spin-off of other characters from the Mushroom Kingdom, and they had great games. But then Princess Peach.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They could, like, that could have been a Peach game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when somebody at Nintendo implied that Toad was non-binary, and then someone got excited and asked for clarification from someone else at Nintendo, and the someone else at Nintendo who was more geriatric said, "What?" Do you remember that? Does everybody remember that? That was a weird moment.
Well, I remember the execution video of the first guy, but
oh my God.
I don't remember anything else.
They cut his head off with the sushi knife.
I'm going to ask this one last quick question before we move on to our lightning round.
Yeah.
Make a game starring either or both Princess Peach and Princess Zelda.
It's called...
Also, who has more power?
Zelda.
I think
Zelda's got like magic items.
She canonically has power in the Breath of the Wild series.
I think Peach is on a cave adventure. She's spelunking, and I think it's a platforming, not violent, right? Because let's at least like try to respect, like let's try to pitch something that might get made, right? So like
sure,
a fairly non-violent, but Tomb Raider like in caves adventure where Peach is spelunking.
She's got two guns.
She could,
with unlimited ammo.
Tigers.
But they're Batman grapple guns.
I was imagining her doing something equestrian for some reason.
That's too girly.
Barbie Horse Adventures.
Barbie Horse Adventures.
Princess
No,
Peach.
it's just because she's wearing those petticoats.
Let's be fair. There are far more video games about dudes riding horses now than there ever were Barbie Horse Adventures style games. So riding a horse is no longer, strictly speaking, girly, which means that a girl could do it in a way that's exciting. and not evoking memories of Barbie horse adventures.
I don't draw the line between Peach and spelunking, I guess. I see her as she's just all high society.
That sounds like more something for Zelda.
Well, it's because she's got her little parasol. She can float downward.
Well, I remember her having like an adventurer outfit on somewhere in Mario Odyssey.
It was super odd Mario Odyssey.
True.
I know
That's
what
true.
you're talking about.
Because she goes on a trip when you rescue her.
Yeah, so like it's that Peach. You know, like she's on her like her adventure trip, and you're having some adventures with her, and she probably likes geology in the natural world. I don't know why, she just does. And so I just like her in a cave. I just like her with a hard hat and like a pink jumpsuit and like some safety equipment, and she's just spelunking and having a good time. Maybe with toad helpers, right?
No, I know.
Maybe sometimes she has to jump on them.
Here's what I'm going to say. I got two ideas. Number one is make Mario. Again, a new Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey sequel, where you can just play as Luigi or Peach, and there's basically no difference to the game because
that's the actual answer.
That is actually
right? It's
the
the same thing as character
answer.
creator for Zelda. It's just like just swap the characters. Who cares?
And then my number two suggestion is a little more. It's a little more. What do you call it? Involved, but the Breath of the Wild 3, Bot with 3, Totke 2. Right, if you're keeping score, the Bratwurst 3, Tchotchke 2, if you're keeping score. The next Zelda game should have both Link and Zelda be playable as characters, and then the dungeons. Here's what I would do. This is an idea I had forever ago that I've just been obsessed with. The dungeons. You play as both of them.
Oh, like how he's helping that little Zora in those other games. And like, was it Link to the Past?
Yeah, so you would press a button to just switch between them, and all the puzzles require 2 parts. They require 2 people to do all the puzzles.
Yeah. 2 dirty dwarves.
That's fun. I like that idea.
And then you just, in the overworld, you choose the leader, and you get to play as them. Just let them go on an adventure together. It's Zelda's legend, god darn it.
Yeah, like she's had her name on the box for 35 years. And the first time you get to play as her, it's like a fucking baby mode game. I'm like incensed.
Why does she have to spectate her own legend? So, I mean, you do, just to clarify for the pedantic people in the crowd, yes, we know you play as her in Hyrule Warriors. We know about Zelda for the Philips CDI.
And the other Zelda for the CDI. We're that good.
Wand of Gamelon. And Zelda's Adventure, right? Or whatever they are.
That's right.
We know about these, but this Echoes of Wisdom is the first substantial game where you play as Princess Zelda.
Nintendo sanctioned at that.
In a Zelda game. It's the first like real one. And you know what? I will say I think it's pretty good. And I think the idea is totally neat. Fine. But it is just a little bit ironic for all, for a variety of suspicions that she's not directly murdering monsters and she's instead cloning beds.
Yeah, the direct action you take as Zelda in like things, you are Link. You are embodying Link. He is like an avatar that sits on top of you, which is very funny.
Have to be Link mode.
Like, this is a bitch that like puts on a fucking skin tight suit and like hides her face and does like ninja shit.
Yeah.
And then in fucking Smash Brothers, like she actually has hands. Like, this bitch can fight. And then you put her in her own game, and like the only way that she does directly violence is if she embodies the male avatar. Like, okay, come on, Nintendo.
When people ask geriatric Nintendo employees why you can't play as Zelda or why you can't play as female Link, they're always...
Or why you're mad that I cut that guy's head off.
Yeah. So it's like, why can't there be a female Link? And it's like, their answer is always like, well, because the game is called The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda is a princess, and in order for the story to be resonant, it must be a male rescuing the female princess, right? And it's like, oh, I see why you think that, geriatric old man who smokes 42 cigarettes a day. I understand like why you think that, but also that's a little weird. But at the same time, when you say that to like an American meathead gamer, they jump immediately to, well, yeah, dude, but she was like the toughest character in Ocarina of Time, dude. She was secretly disguised as Sheik. And it's like, man, that's just some Samus secret girl stuff, right? And it's like, I don't know. Just let Zelda be a playable character. I think it could be fun. Give her some pants.
Ninja Gaiden with Sheik. That's what we're doing. We're doing Ninja Gaiden with Sheik. That's how we save Princess Zelda.
You know, in Mario Kart 8, when they had motorcycles and then Princess Peach is wearing pants. Do you remember that? Does everybody remember this?
I do remember this.
Was I the only one here who like stood up when I saw that? I was like, she's wearing pants. Like, There you go. Give Zelda some pants. Not only that, give her a reason to wear some pants.
She doesn't need a reason to wear pants. It's 2024, Tim.
It's not 2024 in Hyrule, which is what Hyrule is called in Japanese, by the way. Localization experts get angry now. It's called Hyrule, not Hyrule. Thank you.
And with that, we are going to head into our lightning round, which I am reviving game FAQs, where, now correct me if I'm wrong, we go to a game FAQ website and we look through the forum posts and we answer questions that are asked by the forum posts, not specific to the game where these posts are, but just like in general.
Yeah.
So I got that right?
Yep.
Yes? Okay,
yes.
great. And we are doing this for Echoes of Wisdom, and we're going to start now. These are taken from the Echoes of Wisdom Game FAQ site. How often do you use the magic to turn into Link mode?
All the time if you're a real man.
That's right.
Jesus.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Table only, game beatable?
Yes.
I mean, typically tabletop games, you don't beat them. You know, it's more of a social experience. So I think it's kind of a trick question.
Yeah, that's right. It just drags on forever. Depends on what kind of group you get.
Yeah, it's a TQ.
What are the best side quests?
All of them. If you're a real gamer, you'll do them all, and you won't complain.
That's right. Get every one of them seeds.
What echoes do you like to use for combat and travel?
What echoes? Well, currently I'm using the DaVinci Resolve voice isolation to eliminate echoes. So I'm not really sure what this question is
I
about.
think if movies have anything to say about it, the most popular echo is Echo itself. Echo, right? That's what everybody says.
So I'm going to say, while there are bodies of water, Echo is actually a Sega character, so you cannot ride Echo in this game.
ETD.
Oh. Where to find bombs?
Joe Mama's house.
The box office right now.
Yeah. There's a funny mechanic somewhere where you go into a movie theater to get bombs.
Yeah.
Megalopolis.
There's
Wow.
like some sort of a Leisure Suit Larry adventure joke in there. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
totally. Yeah, that is Al Lowe, Uncle Humor.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about salted milk smoothies?
Was that a question from GameFAQ?
That is absolutely a question from GameFAQs.
I feel okay. I've had like a salt lassi before, and it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
too bad.
Yeah.
I've had bad ones, but I've had good ones. So I feel like if you do a good job, I'll drink it.
Yeah, not my personal preference, but you know, I respect people who like things like salted caramel, so I can see why.
Well,
this
salted
would be
caramel
attractive
makes
to some
sense.
people.
Salted milk, though.
I think salt on stuff is good.
I do appreciate.
Actually, one of my favorite beverages is doogh, which is an Iranian milk, little salt and herb beverage, which it's a little fermented, so it's like it's almost like a liquidy yogurt. I like it.
Drinking fermented milk products is not the way
Well-
for me. Where to find monster guts?
Inside a monster.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
More shortcut?
Yes.
More? Yeah, why not? Always.
Always.
How far along am I? Should I head back?
There's really no heading back. I mean, we're all headed in the same direction ultimately, and the earlier you accept that, the more free you'll be.
The only way to go is through.
Everything leads inevitably toward death.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, and this is actually really serious, what Zelda game should I play to fully grasp playing as Zelda?
Oh.
The one they haven't made yet. Mario Brothers 2.
Oh,
Wait,
Okay.
that's Peach. Lol.
Yes.
I was gonna say like one of the Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, just so that you question why isn't this Zelda?
Yeah, Tears. Can I just say, am I the only one who got just really fed up of Tears of the Kingdom Zelda?
You are not, and I'll tell you why. Tears of the Kingdom pissed me off so bad because, first of all, we did a nice bait and switch with like the first couple things that we saw with Tears of the Kingdom, and it was like, oh god, we're gonna get to play as Zelda as this. And then you play through the game and you realize that they turned Zelda into a literal vagina, like a literal sheath for a sword. The literal textbook Latin definition of a vagina. That's what they turned my girl into. I was pissed.
Yeah, and you're just kind of following like the ghost of like goth phase Zelda, who's like just saying like dark stuff. Like she's Winona Ryder writing her journal in Beetlejuice. I am alone. Like she's just saying stuff like that.
in Hyrule, what happened to all the hot goat people? Like, apparently Hyrule was ruled by these like lovely brown women and hot goat dudes. And what the fuck happened to them? Like, where are they?
It was ruled by Undertale parents, basically, is what I was feeling. I think that's probably an Undertale reference.
Maybe so.
They love Undertale so much in Japan and at Nintendo. And also, can I just say that the Zelda games have always been very inspired by Studio Ghibli stuff, including Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, where in the story of Nausicaa, there's a legend, a legend passed down through generations of the hero who's going to unite the people and save the world. And it's assumed that it's a man, but the blind prophet woman at the end realizes that it's actually a woman, right? How come that hasn't manifested as a playable Zelda yet?
Yeah, actually,
right?
it was like, Linkle.
Yeah, Linkle, man. Just let me choose a Link or a Linkle at the beginning of the game. Do I want to be Link or do I want to be Linkle? Right? Also, let me just choose to be Linkle, but it's just male Link named Linkle because that's a cool name.
No,
and let me choose to just be Link as a girl, and that because that's a cool name.
Okay,
can you imagine the YouTube videos if the character gender selector in Tot-K 2, Breath of the Wild 3 was just Link or Linkle?
I would light Nintendo on fire.
And
on that note, that is the end of our insert credit episode 358. What recommendations do you have for our listeners? Let's start with you, Frank.
I don't have any. Let's move on. I have not interacted with any media since the last show.
No media? Why not reach into your media trunk and deliver something delicious?
Because I have to go in 3 minutes.
Yes.
3 minutes? No!
That's why you go first. And
Okay.
that's why you have to recommend something, maybe if it's not media, like something you ate. That was really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've found you just need a burrito. Like sometimes something's wrong and you don't know exactly what it is. And in those moments, just at least ask yourself the question, would a burrito fix this? And sometimes the answer is yes.
What's your favorite
a burrito? Absolutely would fix it. I like when I was in San Diego recently.
They got good ones down there.
Yeah, they do. So I'm the only meat eater among the regulars here. I like just a San Diego style carne asada burrito, which is just carne asada and guacamole, and that's it.
That's pretty good.
That sounds very dry.
Burrito. No, it's not. No, not if you do it right. Not if you cook the meat correctly. And then you also have not only the guacamole, but all the hot sauce and salsa you can put on. So that's how you keep it moist and flavorful, and it's good stuff. And there's a burrito called the California burrito, which is that with fries in it. Don't waste your time.
Ew, that sounds terrible.
Fries in a burrito is good.
I don't like the trend of putting fries on like a sandwich type piece of food. I just don't like it. It's not good.
A chip buddy, as they would call it in Manchester.
I don't agree with putting like the reason you fry things is to give them like a crispiness, right?
Yeah.
So I do not appreciate like when you put like tortilla chips under some eggs or something. It's like, okay, so I got all the like fat content of the oil, but with none of the benefits of it being crunchy.
No,
so
you can see that's a skill issue on the part of the maker, because you can when you're doing your chilaquiles, you can wrap it into a layer of the burrito so that it is not touching anything soggy.
Oh, that sounds all right.
Yeah, you got to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Frank, have you ever had a chile relleno burrito with the chile relleno inside? That's I believe my current favorite type of burrito.
Yeah, that would make me feel good in these situations where I don't know what's wrong. Very like animal like. I'm just panicking.
I think that's the peak of California style burritos would be that. Here in New York, we don't do the burritos. We do a slice of pizza, which you then fold in half, and then possibly real New Yorkers fold it into fourths. Don't tell anyone I told you that tip.
How does that
we fold it
Slide
in
it under
half.
their bed.
Yeah, twice.
You make a burrito out of
you roll it
pizza.
up. Yeah. All right. So here's my media related recommendations. I recommend you watch the movie Megalopolis, which it might be too late for you to see it in theaters, but if it's not, go check it out. I would recommend you watch it. But I've seen a lot of people watching it in bad faith, and I had a pretty bad experience at my theater where there was a whole row of 20-somethings who looked like they were skipping out of the office for 2 hours to watch it. There was a guy rattling a metal canteen of ice cubes. And every time he squinched off the rubber lid, which made a really triumphant sound so that he could gulp some liquid and chew some ice cubes, the whole theater smelled like alcohol. These people were just day drinking at 11 a.m., getting really drunk and laughing really, really loudly at everything that happened in the movie.
You got some morbid timers coming in.
Yeah. As obnoxious as that is, that sounds like a great time.
Nah, it wasn't great for me.
Not for everybody else.
No, not for everybody else, but like in a vacuum. Getting drunk at 11 a.m. and going to like an empty theater with a bunch of your friends to watch Megalopolis.
The only problem was it was the largest IMAX screen in the world, which is much in demand here in New York. And there's only 2 showings a day for 3 days. And I'd just rather, if you're going to laugh at it, go see it at a smaller. Don't see it at the most premium theater possible, which costs extra money anyway. Just go see it somewhere fun. I mean, there were about 200 people there, so it wasn't like dire, right? It wasn't empty. And I think it was not empty enough for what these kids were trying to do. Anyway, there are a lot of people engaging with this movie in bad faith. And these people laughed very loudly all the time, and never more loudly than they laughed at the viral clip from Twitter. So they laughed especially.
Going to the club?
Yeah, they laughed like a goddarn jet engine at that part, and then just like smaller laughs at literally everything else. And it's like the movie is very exuberant and weird and wacky, and it's full of stilted dialogue, unnatural delivery, but that's all. You're in a goddarn dark room looking at a 10-story tall screen. Let it be a little weird. It's fine. It's fine if Aubrey Plaza is having probably the most fun anyone's ever had anywhere with her character, Wow Platinum, which her name is basically my 2-word review of this film.
So it's a good movie.
I think if you want it to be a good movie, here's what I would say. Watch the movie Metropolis, the Fritz Lang movie Metropolis. Watch the film Metropolis based on the Tezuka Osamu manga Metropolis, which is based on the movie Metropolis.
Didn't like that one too much.
You don't like it? It's a thing. It's a thing. Watch that movie. I would say watch Nosferatu, F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu.
Okay.
I would say
like that one.
Watch. This one's a hard recommendo. You want to watch it in the lowest frame rate possible because it's shorter this way.
Okay.
Watch Intolerance by D.W. Griffith. If he had made Intolerance before he made his movie about the KKK, I think we would like him a lot more.
Wait a minute. That's the guy who did fucking Birth of a Nation, isn't it?
Yeah.
How dare you recommend
Intolerant.
that guy? The first time I'm hosting Insert Credit.
It's public domain and he's mega dead. And the movie's very interesting. This movie, Intolerance, which is about the history of hate in the world, which is a very funny topic to tackle after the only reason you would watch this is because there are stylistic reflections in the movie Megalopolis. That's the only reason I would recommend it. And then I would recommend watching the film Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And also, you should have seen The Godfather. Like, I think if you're over a certain age, you might consider watching The Godfather. It's pretty good.
Godfather is like one of those. If it's on, you sit down and watch it.
Yeah, it's a good film. And if you know anyone who says Godfather Part 2 is quote unquote the good one, that person doesn't have good opinions about anything. You're supposed to watch both of them. It's one movie in 2 parts. The Godfather Part 2 is not the good one. There are people persistently saying today Godfather Part 2 is the good one, which is like, what's wrong with you?
Can I say something controversial? I didn't hate Godfather Part 3.
You don't hate it?
No.
No, I think it's all right.
It's fine.
I mean, there's a couple problems with it, but did you see his own recut of it that came out a few years ago?
I have
Godfather not. Coda, the death of Michael Corleone, which is just a recut of Godfather Part 3, which is significantly better as a film.
I've only been thinking about it because I recently, for the first time, watched The Many Saints of Newark, and I thought that was an abysmal film.
I still haven't watched that. I just refuse to believe that they were able to make a real movie. That's a Sopranos prequel. I just don't think that's possible.
And it was really difficult to watch with my husband because I had to explain, okay, this is Chris Moltisanti's dad, and then this is Junior, and then this is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I do like how they interleaved like some like major moments from like the Sopranos show into the movie, like when the dad takes the sister to the thing and then he gets arrested and it was a big thing. I thought that was really cool.
Stuff that's referenced in episodes of The Sopranos. I feel like I saw a couple clips of it and I was like, oh, this is absolutely like a companion Blu-ray to a AAA, like to a Final Fantasy game. It's like like if The Sopranos was Kingdom Hearts, this is like a cutscene compilation DVD of a game that doesn't exist that's packaged in because they didn't find a place to put it in the video game. I mean, I'll watch it someday. I haven't watched the Deadwood movie either.
I haven't either. I keep trying to get into Deadwood and I just bounce off of it. One day I'm going to sit down and try. Brandon, do you have any recommendations?
Sure. Reservation Dogs season 3. It's over now, so you can watch the whole series. I think it's a good series. I like it. The little ham-fisted sometimes, but if you're in the right brain set,
is that a Taika Waititi joint?
Yeah.
I mean, he's connected
in that he's an
to
executive producer. Like,
yeah,
I've heard that people are kind of tired of him now or whatever.
I was gonna say, like, we bounced off him real fast.
But the thing that I really appreciate about him is not necessarily his personal output, but that he used his position as a famous person to get a lot of indigenous-led films and television projects to happen. Just having his name associated.
And that's why he's better than Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, not only that, but he also kind of fostered this atmosphere of just playfulness in the craft. If we're saying nice things about Taika Waititi here, he fostered this enthusiasm, playfulness in craft, editing, composition. Like everything's just kind of the stuff is like more lively to look at than a lot of the other stuff that exists. In the present day.
I was kind of going on a tear about a year ago of watching a lot of indigenous led movies and stuff, and the number of times that he was on board as an executive producer or a funder or something was very high, and a lot of these were like first time filmmakers and relatively unknown actors and all these kinds of things. So it was a lot of new opportunities opening up for people, and they weren't all great either, which I thought was cool because it's like it's nice to let people experiment and try and not even necessarily do the best job just so that there's more stuff like that out there. So
have you seen What We Do in the Shadows, the show?
Yeah.
That show's all right.
I've seen like episodes of it, but I haven't
I like it.
Watched it.
It's got some stuff to it. It's another FX show. So
it is. Boy, one thing I don't like about FX is how it puts Fearless after the logo. It makes me feel embarrassed
that it's like called FX Fearless because they're definitely afraid
of a lot of things. Yeah,
there's so much safety in everything.
Yeah,
like with the bear, they're afraid of telling a joke. That's
they are.
They're afraid of joking.
My other recommendation is I finally watched the original Bubblegum Crisis OVAs.
Oh, those are fun.
Which are fun, and I like them, and I recommend it. And the first 4 especially are basically like long music videos with narrative bits and fighting robots in the middle, and they're like tone pieces, and it's a pretty interesting brain exercise in cross-cultural influence because I think Bubblegum Crisis and its ilk influenced a lot of cyberpunk Western media, and not just movies, but books and even animations as well. But then you watch Bubblegum Crisis, and it's just full of references to Alien, and like just the word, just James Cameron's name is stamped all over the place, and Terminator, and just like all these Western, like there's one map that is just like, Madonna, Prince are the names of the places, and it's just like chock full of references to American things that were popular within the 10 years before they made this show. So it's pretty pretty interesting to watch in that regard as well, but also just as a thing to watch. And then the latter 4 episodes are pretty nice, but they're more like a regular anime, but that's fine. So there's a Blu-ray. I don't know if it's out of print. I hope it's not, but you can watch those.
Bubblegum Crisis.
Bubblegum Crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, and do I get to do recommendations?
Yeah, do it.
Okay,
Go for it.
In that vein, I'm going to recommend watching Appleseed, which is also a really cool...
Masamune Shiro.
Yeah, older 1980s style anime movie that's really good. I also will recommend, by the time this episode will come out, like today is the first day that Don 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 is out on Netflix. I didn't know what this was before today. I saw the opening like credits and the song is like an absolute banger. Like it will probably be in the show notes. You should watch it. It was enough to get me to watch the show. And then I read like the synopsis, and I guess it's about a girl who does believe in ghosts but does not believe in aliens, gets abducted by aliens, and a dude who does not believe in ghosts but believes in aliens gets possessed by a ghost, and then they have to like work together. And then one thing that was really messed up about it is that like the ghost takes his penis, and like his goal, like the overarching goal of the show is to get not his penis, his testicles. He has to get his testicles back. And it leads
she does
to this,
take
like,
his penis first. Then
you are familiar with this.
Yeah, I've read the manga.
Okay.
His penis comes back to him a little sooner, but his balls,
so
as of
they take
where
everything.
I am in the manga, are still gone. Yeah.
Okay.
The aliens especially want his penis. The ghosts,
but they want the
whole
girl
package.
too, right? They want to like it was upsetting. It was not upsetting.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, this is weird because like these are high school people, and then you've got this one ghost lady saying, "Let me gobble that wiener," which is a fantastic like line to see in an anime spoken to a high school age boy. And then you've got this girl who's been abducted by aliens, and it's like, we are gonna have sex with you now. And I'm like, okay, Japan.
I will say that whole premise, which is a good way to sell it, is also like the first episode, and then it just does other things.
Yeah, it does Monster of the Week stuff.
It's a pretty decent media product. I haven't seen the anime because I don't know if it.
It just came out. It's on Netflix today.
Yeah, but I like the manga. It's pretty fun, but it basically becomes pretty standard shonen. It starts out feeling clever and then becomes regular shonen after that. But starting clever is sometimes all you need.
As long as it's better than how Jujutsu Kaisen ended up.
Jujutsu Kaisen is I will say that for this one, at least you can understand what's happening. Jujutsu Kaisen,
thank you God,
is like I kept reading it, but at a certain point I stopped paying attention to what I was reading because it's like I don't even know what we're talking about. Reverse, inverse, magic, blocker, whatever kind of things they're trying to talk about. I don't even know.
At a certain point in Jujutsu Kaisen, whether you're reading the manga or watching the show, you just fucking tune out because this shit is ass. I'm sorry. There are going to be a lot of people who light my ass up about this because they have very strong feelings about JJK, but I am telling you, like, no, this shit sucks. I got through the first season, the second season, like midway through when they start fighting at like the schools, I'm like, no, this is terrible. I have Naruto at home. I would be better off.
Yeah, I really liked the first season because I thought it was of the anime. I liked it more than manga. I feel like it was really well paced and moved right into the story and showed you what you needed to know really quickly and moved along. And then that was it. Like after that, it just went off the rails and was just like introducing characters. Like the main character is basically just gone for the. I think he's in like maybe 15%. I've read all the manga. He's in maybe 15% of it. The main guy.
That sucks.
He's not the main guy, obviously.
No.
But then nobody's the main guy. There's no main guy. It's just a bunch of guys, and they're all doing various things. And it's like, what is any of this? I don't know. It's anyway. We don't need to talk about that forever.
I'd like to recommend reading some books.
Yeah, I read that. I read The Left Hand of Darkness. I know I've been on a Ursula K. Le Guin situation,
as everyone should. Especially now.
I read all
Parable
those.
of the Soa? Are you kidding me?
But I just read Left Hand of Darkness while I was on the train, and pretty good. If you like books, check it out.
Yeah,
awesome. So in my planning, I forgot to plan the ending and how to end this. So all I'm going to say is this has been episode of 358 of the Insert Credit Audio Magazine. I have been your temporary DEI hire host, Ash Parrish.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
And your game has been saved.
All right, we did it.
We did it.
Excellent.
Nice work.
Prepare the ending better next week, but yeah.
Oh, that's okay. The ending is usually just something that Jaffe thought was funny during the show.
Nobody's listening by the end, so it's fine. Everybody turns it off.
Yeah, they turn it off
once they hear they're all just there to hear the ad break.
Yeah.
They get to the ad break and then they turn it off. They go, oh, okay. And then they immediately get distracted and go buy whatever the ad is.
That's right. That's how it works. Beep.